in? Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chrissy and this is Barefoot in the Garden. And yes, I'm barefoot in the chicken coop because I'm a country bitch like that. So I want to talk to you guys today about raising our flocks without chicken feed. We were amateurs when we started our homestead. We knew zero, but we had the dream. At least I know I had the dream. And chickens were high on my priority list. This is our new rooster. Look at him. He wasn't supposed to be here. I got all hens and he ended up in the batch. So I guess technically that means that he is supposed to be here because everything that is supposed to be. But I haven't gotten a name for him yet, but he's definitely a rooster. Go ahead. Go ahead. Like I said, we were complete amateurs and we kind of just jumped right into getting livestock. We already had the horses, we got the cow, we got the farm dogs, and then I bought my first 15 chicks. So I started them off with chick feed and of course water. And we kind of just continued that process until they were about 9 months and they started laying. And then we transitioned them over to layer feed and regular chick feed. And for the first, I say year and a half, that was what we were doing. We were feeding them with chicken feed. So after a while, it became like another bill for us, right? You have to buy your feed for your livestock. That's one thing that you have to do. They have to eat too, right? If you don't have the land for them to graze in a free range, then you have to supplement their food somehow. So their feed, the chicken feed, became another bill for us. And I started to try to incorporate other types of feeding so that we weren't buying so much feed on a bi-weekly basis. Of course, I started feeding them kitchen scraps, all the scraps that they can eat. You know, there's certain vegetables and fruits that you don't want to feed them. But for the most part, they can pretty much eat all the chicken scraps that your kitchen produces. So after that year and a half, I was cutting back on their chicken feed and the birds still looked really healthy. They weren't showing me any signs of malnutrition. They weren't showing me any signs of disease. He's all interested in the camera. They looked perfectly healthy to me. They were still a good size. They were happy. So as time went on, I kind of just lessened the amount of feed that I was giving them and letting them just free range and get their food that way. So some more time went on and I realized that they were really happy, they were really active, and I had been lessening the amount of feed that I was giving them. And I was under the impression that they needed that feed in order to thrive, but kind of like just experimenting with them and trying different things out, I didn't see too much of a difference in them other than the amount of money that was coming out of my pocket. I started to do some extensive research on how to supplement chicken feed, and I come to the decision that this is a whole thing that homesteaders do, that they don't tell the newbies because they want us to buy all these products from these stores. And just like a lot of other things in life, we can literally sustain ourselves with the things that we have around us, but because of the lack of knowledge, we don't, and we go to the stores for our every need. And that is one thing that I'm putting behind me, honey, is going to the store for my every need. I need to be more resourceful and, you know, learn about the earth and how things work, and you save a lot of money, a lot of stress, a lot of working hours. Just you save a lot. So it's totally a thing. People free range their chickens. The chickens thrive, they're happy, they give them kitchen scraps, watermelons, you know, all the good things from the vegetable garden, and they're fine. They lay fine, you know. They do. It actually is true. You don't have to buy chicken feed for your flock. In replacement of the oyster shell that they suggest you feed them, which is good. You know, if you have oyster shell that you can afford to buy a lot of, if you have a large flock, this really only pertains to those who either want to save money or have large flocks that you have to feed and it costs you a lot of money. If you have a smaller flock, buying your feed and supplementing their feed may be something that is okay for you, but this video is just for reference. You know, if you are trying to sustain your livestock for a cheaper cost, this video is for those people. I give them eggshells for replacement of the oyster shell. Now these eggshells are from the older flock, so they're not their eggshells yet, but once these guys start producing eggs, I'll be able to give them their eggshells in replacement of the oyster shell. So that would be considered like a grit. So one things that chickens can have a problem with is digestive issues. Sometimes they're not able to process the poop. Sometimes they're not able to digest their food properly, and their crops that are here in the front, which is kind of like their first area that the food goes to, it's on their chest plate, you'll feel it. Sometimes they have a hard time passing food through there, so you would give them like oyster shell or grit to help kind of like break down the food that's in there so that they can pass it down to the rest of their digestive tract. But these are our olive green layers, and they come in a lot of different shades. I just think that they're so beautiful. They have like that gray ombre, and she doesn't want to be on camera, but majority of the new flock is the olive layers. Come here. Oh, just stand. No. We also have horses. The cow is next door at our neighbor's pasture right now, so we don't have any cow manure over here for me to give them in their run. Another way that I supplement feed is by letting them free range. So by free ranging, they're able to get all of the green that they want. They're able to hunt all of the insects and bugs that they want. So they get their protein from that. They get their greens in for sure. And a really cool way that they also get a lot of food in is in the horse's manure. So they'll scratch, you know, the manure that's been sitting, or some of the compost that's been sitting back here where the horses roam, and they'll scratch that and they'll eat the bugs out of it. So another way that you can feed your chickens is by letting them go and roam with the other livestock, and they'll be able to eat all the good bugs that are in the compost and in the manure, and they love it. Come here. Here's another lady. She's so pretty. Look at her color. She's one of the more timid ones that we have. She's very calm. As you can see, the other ones were jumping out of my hands, but she's always really calm. Her and her sister. I got 2 of those. You can have them and you can cut costs. You don't have to take it on as such a big, you know, investment. Pop out. That's pretty much it for this video, y'all. I just wanted to get that out there, that you can cut costs on your chicken feed. You can cut costs on your homestead bills per month, and it's totally beneficial to your animals. They won't hurt. You just have to figure out what works for them, what they like. Like I said, I gave them, and they're devouring it, and it's full of dirt now, but this was leftover rice, eggshells, and some bananas in there, and they're about to jump me for it. So I'm gonna put it back on the ground. You see, they love it. They're getting fed. If you're gonna do it, just make sure you look up what chickens can and can't eat. If you need a video on that, just drop it down in the comment section, and I'll be happy to put that together for y'all. So until next time, keep loving life, keep growing your own food, and grand rising to all.